Hi, it's Danny from the Academy, and today we're going to be speaking about the differences between present simple and present continuous. As always, it's very important to always think in English. Think about the use of the tense and why you're using that tense and not the direct translation into your language. Okay? So let's start with the present simple and their uses. So let's talk about the first use. The first use is general information and facts. For example, when we want to know more information about someone or we want to give information about ourselves, which is general, we use the present simple. For example, I cook an amazing paella. Okay, that's one example. I hate mushrooms. I run every day. That's general information about myself. We spoke about general information, now let's speak about some facts. For example, London is in England. That's a fact. The sun rises every morning. That's a fact. I'm an amazing teacher. That's another fact. Okay, so you got general information and you got facts. Now also you can include that with the negative. For example, I don't cook an amazing paella. Don't forget the use of the auxiliary. The auxiliary is very important in present simple, in all of our language, especially at these levels. I don't cook an amazing paella. I don't run every day. I don't hate mushrooms. We're just using the negative. We spoke about the auxiliary verbs with the question forms in the other classes, so make sure you always think about the use of the auxiliary in the English language. So let's continue talking about the more uses of the present simple. We spoke about general information. We've spoken about facts. Now let's talk about habits, routines, and repeated actions. Okay, more or less are the same thing in my opinion. So for example, a habit. Think of the habits that you do every day. For example, my habit is I wake up every morning at 7 o'clock. I go running at 8 o'clock. It's a habit. Okay, it's a repeated action. All right. I brush my teeth twice a day. So they're habits. They're things that I do on a routine basis. Now, another way of looking at it is a repeated action, which for me is a very similar thing. For example, you talk about trains or buses or transport. The train leaves to Berlin 11 o'clock every day. Okay. So, as an overview, we have spoken about the present simple. We have spoken about general information and facts, habits and repeated actions. I will repeat myself now. Always, always, always think in English. It's so important not to translate from your language because the structure in every language is very different. Okay, so think about the use. Not only the construction exactly, but think about why you're using it. Okay, so now we're going to talk about present continuous. Now, again, always think about the use, think in English, try not to translate directly from your language. Now, the grammatical structure is very simple. Use the verb to be with the verb in ing. Okay, when you use the verb to be, you always put the verb in ing. That is the rule. Okay, don't forget that. So the three main uses. Actions happening in the moment of speaking, actions happening now, temporary actions, and the future. We can also use present continuous for the future, which is a very good trick I will show you in a few minutes. So the first use, we talk about present continuous when we're talking about actions in this moment. At the moment, I am explaining the differences between present simple and present continuous. At the moment, my wonderful friend Arancha is making a video.
Hello.
Okay, so that's happening now. That's what we're talking about in the present, actually happening at this moment. But don't forget, always think about the construction, the verb to be, verb in ing. Okay, so temporary actions. We use the present continuous for temporary actions. For example, at the moment, I am explaining the differences between present continuous and present simple. That's happening now. However, you can also use the present continuous for temporary, as I said. For example, I am studying Spanish. I'm not studying Spanish in this moment. It's what's been happening for the last couple of months, but I am still doing that. It's a continuous action, but it's temporary. Maybe in the future, I stop studying Spanish. Another one, for example, is I am living with my friend at the moment because my house is being renovated. That's hopefully a temporary action. Okay, and the third use of present continuous, we normally talk about this when we're talking about the future. So when you refer to the class about the future, we normally talk about this with will and to be going to. But I think it's very important to use it now so you understand that it's very easy to use. Okay, for me, the future is overused. We use will too much because it's the easy option. However, there are many easy options. Present continuous is one of those options. So, present continuous, you've got the verb to be plus the ing. Talking about actions now. So, I am playing football. Okay, that's now. If I use a time reference at the end of that sentence, all we're doing then is referring that to the future. For example, I am playing football tonight. Okay, so there's your time reference. That's very important. Without that time reference, it's not future. Okay, this afternoon, I am meeting a friend. You can use the time reference at the beginning of the sentence. This afternoon, I am meeting a friend. Next week, I am flying to Madrid. I am flying to Madrid next week. So try to use that. Try to get away from using will, because I think as a language we're using will too much because it's the easy option and it's the option that you are accustomed to using. All right, so make sure you try to think about another way of using future, and present continuous is that way. Okay, so quick overview again, the differences between present simple and present continuous. Present simple, the use, general information, facts and habits and repeated actions. Okay, things that we do on a routine basis. Present continuous, actions now, in the moment of speaking, temporary actions, and of course, the future. So again, always think in English. Don't forget, never translate.